Every school teacher needs one of these.
Yeah.
That works. All right, thank you all for coming. We'll go ahead and call regular scheduled Westminster City Council meeting to order. And I want to recognize, if you will, Mr. Tommy James. Would you raise your hand, please? Our county council member who's supported Westminster and this recreation project. And Mr. Phil Shirley, Assistant County Administrator, thank you for coming as well. Certify a quorum, please. And then join us for the invocation, pledge of allegiance.
We pray for me. Father, thank you so much for this time that we have come together as a community, as elected officials here to make decisions. I want to personally just thank you on behalf of the council and this community for these young people that we have today and the way that you bless the community with the talent that we have and the adults that coach them and their willingness to do so and their love for these children like you have for us. Thank you for our first responders, our chiefs, the fire department, and police department for the work that they're doing, our newest member of the police department. Pray that you'll be with him and keep him safe. Thank you for Herb and his love for the recreation department and what really builds this community for the future. Thank you for this administration and the hard work that they do day in and day out, after hours, before hours, and the hard work that they put in. We pray that you'll just bless this council tonight as we make decisions and that the decisions we make will bring glory to you both now and in the future. In Christ's name, amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I'd like to make a motion that we move the special presentation for the softball teams up front ahead of the presentation from Miss Cricket Barnett. Second. Motion second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you. All right, this time, once again, we are celebrating state champions with our rec department. We never get tired of this. This is probably, I guess, my favorite thing to do, and I think we do it almost every season at some point, or at least once a year. But this year's a little bit special. Herb, would you come up here with me and hand these out, please? We had a lot of pushback when we decided we were going to build a Horton Recreation Complex. You always do anytime you do something new in town, and this is neat, but it's big. So we've got probably the best director we could ask for to manage it, oversee it, and make sure we have, I guess, the best baseball and softball facilities in the country, as far as I'm concerned, with you. I mean, I appreciate what you've done. You've been a blessing to us and all these years. You all benefit from this, and I hope all of you realize how hard this has been for a lot of your parents, the elected officials, the city workers, the people helping with fundraisers, and especially Herb in giving y'all this property. And I hope y'all appreciate it. I hope you enjoy it. And I hope when you're grown, you're sitting here doing the same thing we're doing today, because this town cares enough about you guys to do this. And thank you all for working so hard with the softball this year. And now we're ready for volleyball. We have a state champion volleyball team. All right, so I'm going to call your name and ask you to come up. We'll do the 10 and under first. Go up here and wait, and then what we'll do is get a picture with everybody. Anika Fisher. Callie Dixon. Caroline Jones. Jason Blackwell. Jason Moore. Haley Chapman. Rylan Devian. Ben Black. Curtis Goss. Nathan Moore. Council want to join us in a picture with the team?
I'm short. Wait, am I short?
Alright, smile.
Got it?
All right.
Congratulations. All right, next we have the 12 and under.
Ten and under and 12.
So who is this your third team? Who is it? Three times? That's amazing. All right, listen, Scott. Right here. The team you good? Addison Perkins. Lakeland Tompkins. Leah Smith. Josie Zamansky. Scarlett Laws. Carolina Watts. Vanessa Livingston. Emily Cook. Wayne Dixon. Madeline Forrester. All right, coaches Casey Tompkins. Thank you all once again for another great season.
Two lines.
Ladies, let's do that and we'll get a picture. Y'all all count on being on
All of you.
Got one here to talk
It's hard. Let's look in the
Congratulations, ladies.
Good job, Fred.
Leg short. It's gonna be short, sweet.
Probably not. Thank y'all. I know that takes a little time, but it's worth every minute of it. At this time, we're going to move on to a special presentation by Cricket Barnett. She's the president and CEO of Visit Oconee. Ms. Cricket, you have the floor and the wall.
Thank you guys so much for allowing Cricket Barnett, and I'm the new president and CEO of Visit Oconee SC. Thank you for inviting me to speak with you tonight about the initiatives that we have going on with Visit Oconee and the partnership that we have with Westminster. I'm going to go ahead and try to show a video. I was told there might not be sound, so we'll see how that will run. But, turn it over here so I'll show you again. So I hope you guys recognize some of those places on the video. If you didn't, you need to get out and about in the county a little bit more. Oconee County is the greatest place to live, work, and play. I feel super blessed to be able to grow up here. And I moved away and missed home and came back, and I'm super blessed to raise my family here. So, from the natural assets all the way down to the charming towns, live music, history, festivals. We really have something for everyone here in Oconee County. There we go. So a little bit about Visit Oconee. We are the marketing arm of Oconee County. Our funding comes from a portion of state and local accommodations tax that are collected through short-term rentals and hotels. None of our budget is funded through the general fund of Oconee County. And the rest of the pot of accommodations taxes are used for tourism expenditures, and that ends up resulting in a better quality of life for the residents. A lot of that money funds the county parks. It does help offset the general fund a little bit, and it goes to just different assets throughout the county. Our mission statement at Visit Oconee, the marketing arm, is to promote sustainable visitation to all parts of the county by highlighting our spectacular natural assets and promoting our community's local events, entertainment venues, museums, shops, restaurants, and lodging. So we are trying to promote sustainable growth in Oconee County So our key initiatives that we are working through is we want to drive growth during low occupancy periods where lodging rates dip below 60%. We want to target high-value visitors who respect our natural environment. We want to promote active outdoor adventures in the spectacular natural settings that we have in the county. And we want to deliver authentic experiences that preserve our resources. We went through a process to create a strategic plan in 2024. We had input from the board of directors and stakeholders throughout the county. And we built this off of, the plan was built off of 3 strategic initiatives. So 1, smart marketing, 2, an ever-improving visitor experience, and 3, a sustainable tourism economy. I'm going to dive into each of those for just a little bit. So smart marketing, it's a focus of ours. We recognize that there's a lot of visitors during the summertime. We don't necessarily need to add to our already busy traffic on the lakes, especially during the weekends throughout the summer. Has anybody tried to go to Devil's Fork State Park on a Saturday in July? And so we don't need, people are going to have a bad experience if we start promoting that area during that time of year. That's just an example. So we focus all of our paid advertising, so anything that we pay for, during the fall, the winter, and the spring. We obviously run social media throughout the year and things that we don't have to contribute money to, but our primary focus on our budget is to support the shoulder seasons. And so we have a marketing committee that helps shape our marketing plan each year. I have an overview of our fiscal year 27 marketing plan. I think we have them on your desk right there. Y'all are welcome to take a look at it, deep dive into it, and call me if you have any questions or comments or anything. But I just want to make sure y'all have that in your hands. It includes a mix of print and digital media, along with local advertising on the radio and the newspaper. We produce the Oconee County Visitors Guide twice a year, and we have a full-time sales director who brings sporting events, business meetings, and specialized groups into the county during the slower seasons. And that creates a direct economic impact to the county. Our marketing includes niche and national publications, regional partnerships, statewide coverage, along with local marketing. And we partner with South Carolina PRT through grants to advertise anything that's 50 plus miles away from the county. So they do a matching grant on a lot of our advertising that's outside of 50-mile radius of Oconee County. So our tourism demographic analysis, we use a program called Placer AI to track visitor travel data. And using that platform, we're able to create a visitor profile of who currently likes to come and visit Oconee County. And through that data, this is our tourism demographics that we have highlighted and listed. So we track all of our marketing, everything that we do. We track it for effectiveness, and then we adapt our marketing plan throughout the year and yearly based on the results of these tracking mechanisms. We recognize that at Visit Oconee, that if a visitor comes to Oconee County and has a great experience, they're going to come back and they're going to bring friends with them. So our initiative number 2 is enhancing the visitor experience. So we partner with nonprofits, business owners, outfitters, municipalities, and state and federal agencies to work towards increasing the visitor's experience. Our goals are to expand hiking and cycling trails, add bike lanes, improve walkability between hotels, dinings, and activities. We want to support development of year-round recreational activities, such as indoor climbing, pickleball, team sports facilities for October through March growth. We want to support local businesses and parks in providing river and lake access and outdoor experiences. And we want to work with service providers and stakeholders to expand cellular and Wi-Fi service in rural northern areas and visiting gathering spots. Big goals, I recognize that, but you got to have a goal in mind to start working your way towards a better future. So, everything we do, we try to support everything from litter pickup to conservation to accessibility, increased recreational opportunities. And that's a lot of what drives our partnerships. As Oconee County grows, our goal is to help create a sustainable tourism economy. What that means to us is to protect the natural areas that make this place special and create a stable economy that supports local businesses year-round, and ultimately create a strong, connected, and vibrant community, which makes Oconee County the best place to live, work, and play. We're already there, but we can always make it a little better. So we're fortunate to partner with the City of Westminster on a lot of these goals and working towards accomplishing these goals. So this is not a list of everything that we have done and will do, but I wanted to highlight a few things. And so, first of all, Kevin sits on our board of directors, and we really enjoy his input and the partnership that we have with him joining us there. Y'all support the print and distribution of our biannual visitors guide through a sponsorship. And so we print 30,000 copies of these guides, and we do it twice a year, and we distribute them all over South Carolina. It goes to all the welcome centers in South Carolina, from the beach up to here, from Florence, down. So our neighboring counties, so including the counties in North Carolina and Georgia, they get these visitors guides as well. And then locally, we put them at restaurants, we put them at hotels, we put them at businesses across the county. We typically feature our natural assets on the front of this guide, but this fall we decided to switch it up a little bit. So this is breaking. This is our new guide that's coming out, the front cover this fall. And so we wanted to highlight the amazing festivals that happen in the county. So as you can see, Bigfoot Festival made the cut. So here in Westminster, along with that's at the Farm Center on the top. And so I just want to say thank you so much for your partnership and continuing to sponsor the Visitors Guide. It does mean a lot, and it helps us to print more and to get more out there to try to draw more visitors in, and to support the visitors that come here by telling them what to do while they're here. So using the same software that we use for visitor data, we're able to actually track attendance and demographic information and reports for specific areas. So what we have done in partnership with you guys is we've actually geofenced downtown Westminster and provided reports on what that visitation traffic is throughout the year. And then we've also targeted different festivals and events and looked at different visitation traffic of where people are coming from, what hotels are they staying in, et cetera, et cetera. And then we're using it a lot recently with the Horton Recreation Center. And so we have taken, Mr. Poole has given us all of the tournaments that came this summer, and we went ahead and tracked every single tournament so we can see where those teams are from. We can see if they stayed in hotels in Oconee County or if they stayed somewhere else. And so I hope that information is useful as y'all, go after different tournaments, go after different groups. You can see kind of the effectiveness and tailor your marketing, with that information. So, Visit Oconee, Oconee Economic Alliance, along with the Oconee County Chamber, we're working together to revitalize Think Oconee. So Think Oconee, what we're aiming for it to be in the revitalization process is a countywide initiative that builds an Oconee first mindset by helping people see, value, support, and steward the people, places, businesses, and experiences that make Oconee County thrive. And so we're at the beginning of this revitalization process. Kevin was able to come to one of our first community values sessions, And we shared positive stories about living and working in Oconee County. And what we're doing is taking those values and then creating a framework to be able to celebrate people who embody those values, and to be able to have practical ways to look towards how do you support each other in a community, how do you support local business in the community, and how do we make Oconee County continue to be strong as we grow. We will be reaching out to the community as we build practical ways to get involved with this initiative. So please stay tuned whenever this kicks off, because I believe that through this and through everything that's happening in our community, we really have an opportunity here to change the way we think and the way that we act for the better of our community. And so, and then the last thing that is highlighted here on this screen is that we were able to send a photographer and a videographer out to the Horton Recreation Fields at one of the early, I think it was the first county tournament that was out there. And we met with Director Poole. We discussed different ideas for tournament recruitment. And we went ahead and had a video made for his use and for the city's use to be able to recruit teams for the Horton Recreation Center. So I'm going to show that video next.
Horton Outdoor Recreation Area gives teams and families a great place to play right here in Westminster. With brand new ball fields and plenty of space to cheer on your team, it's a great addition to the community. While you're here, grab something to eat downtown, hike to Brasstown Falls, or explore Charan County Park. There's plenty to enjoy in Westminster before and after the game.
Awesome. So we're a mighty team of three, along with the help and support of Phil Shirley, the Deputy Administrator of Oconee County. Let us know how we can continue to partner with you guys, how we can support you guys as we go forward. And so if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them, or you can contact me later, and I'm happy to speak with you guys. Okay.
I don't have a question, but I couldn't think of anybody better than Cricket to head up this organization.
Thank you.
Cricket, have y'all looked at putting the destination sign or board up at Horton? That we could, when visitors come, they could see how close they are to the waterfalls, the parks, boat ramps, things like that?
Yeah, we're working with Kevin in the city to, when the digital display board goes up, we'll provide video footage throughout the county.
Mm-hmm.
We've also, for the tournaments earlier, we gave Director Poole a bunch of the visitors guides to hand out at the tournaments to all the kids that came and their parents and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we definitely are open to doing more.
I know we went to one tournament back years ago when they had one, and it actually showed different locations you may want to go to while you were waiting 4 or 5 hours for the next game, or if you didn't play again till the next day.
Perfect,
And
yeah.
they had a board that we could actually look at. It showed where the nearest motels and food, bowling alleys, things like that.
Oh, very cool.
It was around
Okay.
Columbia, but I thought if we had something like that,
Absolutely.
that would definitely encourage people to get out and instead of just going back to their motel.
Yeah, we
show
can
them where they can
definitely
go.
work on something like that.
All right?
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thanks for all you guys do.
Thank you.
All right, this time, we're going to move on to public comments, and I want to make a motion or ask council that we extend some time for Katie Magley. She has hadn't had time to get placed on the agenda, but she's looking at doing a major construction project, and we need to hear from her, and she's probably going to need a little feedback from us. So do I have any objections from the council? Mr. Denny, do we need a vote for that, or is that we okay? All right. All right, so at this time, we'll open up public comments. You want to, is anybody signed up?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Magley, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I don't know if everybody knows me. I'm Katie Magley. I own Magley Animal Hospital here in town. And if you give me just a second, I will pass you one of these to everybody. I just wanted to come and show y'all. I don't know if you've been to my office recently, but we're busting at the seams, and it's a good problem to have. My parking lot is just packed full, which is great for Westminster. I am looking to, what I'm passing out real quick is a site plan as well as the floor plan that I'm trying to accomplish here. I am trying to build about a 5,000 square foot state-of-the-art hospital to bring here in Westminster. Eventually that will be in partnership with the University of, or Clemson University, to add, have fourth-year students come and be trained through our hospital, which will not only bring students, but bring people from from around the country, because they've got students coming from California and Idaho as well. So anyway, these are just a little bit of plans of what I've got. What I wanted to just do is make sure everybody knew that I'm planning on trying to build this, but I have a little bit of a, what's the word, complication, if that's the right word. On South Pew Street, we've got a little bit of a drainage issue on South Pew Street. And that just, I'm just coming to see how I can work with the city council on being able to get this drainage done so we can get this building built. And I talked to several people about maybe making not having to do as big a floor plan and print in the site, but to do that I'd have to not build as big a building, and it's not really feasible for me at this time. So to be able, I want to go the size of building for the growth and sustainability of what we've got, or what I've got planned here. I do have, I know this is sort of new, bringing to y'all's attention here, but Eric White's the civil engineer we've hired out of Greenville with Blue Water Engineering, if you had questions about that drainage down South Pew Street, that I was going to see if y'all had any questions, or have him just quickly explain what we were trying to do too, if that's all right.
How are y'all doing?
Great.
I think it's very fitting it just started to rain outside as I come up here to speak. I'm a civil engineer out of Greenville, and we have been contracted with Dr. Magley to design the site, so civil engineering services. Our number one priority is for the public well-being. So for this particular site, we have a detention pond on site. And really what that pond does is twofold. One, it does help with water quality, so it allows for the sediment to filter out. It allows for, think of like oils that leak out of your car that drain from the parking lot, keeps those out of our streams. But the even bigger item that it does is it helps to slow down the stormwater and release it over a slower period of time. So our team, we met with Westminster out in the field, and we basically came to the conclusion that instead of draining south onto our neighbors, building a parking lot and draining into our neighbors' homes, it would be better if we could drain into the public right-of-way on South Pew Street. There is a catch basin down at the corner of South Pew and Bermuda, and we would just like to work with you all in order to increase the flow allowed through that roadside ditch. Currently it's an older ditch that just over time it's kind of filled up with sediment. So what happens is now runoff enters the road, drains down, and there's a low point in the road. And instead of continuing through the roadside ditch, what it does is it basically overflows the road and kind of drains down onto some neighboring residential properties. And we just wanted to work with you all to help basically to increase the stormwater runoff in the area so that it does not negatively impact our neighbors or us or anyone else downstream of us.
I went out and looked at the site,
Yes,
and me and Mr. Morgan, and that if that ditch is opened up, that's also gonna require opening that ditch up the whole length of Pew Street and putting in a culvert for the house, the first driveway, correct?
Yes, you would have to put I think it's a 20-foot, like 15-inch pipe underneath that driveway, yes.
Right.
Yes, correct.
Well, one question I asked Charles, and I hadn't talked to Miss Magley about this, but she has to do the stormwater pond basically because she's disturbing 1 acre. Is that the reason, or is there something else?
There
Because
are
animal
other reasons
hospital.
as well. So you are correct that in South Carolina, if you disturb less than 1 acre, by SCDES standards, you do not have to install a detention basin and you do not have to attenuate flows. With that being said, if my neighbor were to pave 0.99 acres and point it at my home, I would not be very happy. And so we are trying to avoid doing that. We're trying to be good neighbors and just improve the drainage patterns of the area altogether.
How close is the acreage, the disturbance? Because I wouldn't want her to lower the size of her building either. I mean, she needs the building, but as far as the paved areas, landscaping and all that?
Yes, I think right now we're at about 1.75 acres. The property itself is 1.55 acres. And we're disturbing a little bit because we have to tie into the SCDOT right of way. So we do have a little bit of off-site disturbance, and that's what that increase is.
So what are you asking the city for? What's the...
We're just asking to work together to do work within that right of way to increase the capacity for that roadside ditch or install a culvert, anything like that. If there isn't enough right of way to install the ditch, we can put in a pipe basically underneath there just to help stormwater, just to help our downstream neighbors and not negatively impact them.
Yeah. Kevin, do we have any issue with that, with them doing that?
Well, as I sent in an email to Mr. Morgan, I think it's a great plan. We'll figure this out. We've just got to, there's not enough existing currently owned right-of-way on Pew Street to allow for that. So some of the project may be acquiring additional right-of-way from where you see the property that is just below the stormwater management area, because there's just not enough that we own, and that's kind of that is the issue. Otherwise, I think we would be fine. Utilities Director Scott Paris has been out there. Keith, I think you may have been consulted, and that's what the holdup is. We probably just need to sit down together and come up with a plan forward on that. Most of that is just going to be that property right-of-way acquisition, which can just be through, we would have to also have construction easements and stuff like that, but it's just ticking through boxes.
Sure. Well, that's what I just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention of. That's what we're doing, how we can work to resolve this as quickly as possible is basically what we're want to bring it to attention.
Do you guys, I don't think I have your contact information. Yeah, and we'll get back with you within the next couple of days and schedule a time where we can sit down and figure out exactly what the go forward plan is. I think it's all workable. It's just a matter of figuring out where to put the right piece at the right time.
I would absolutely agree.
Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah.
Thank y'all. Nice to meet you.
Absolutely.
And thank you, Ms. Magley, for expanding and growing and looking at Westminster for this hospital.
Westminster has been very good for me. It's been great. And a great city to work with.
Anyone else? No more public comments? All right, next comments from the mayor and council. Anyone? Kevin, I just had one from our last regular meeting. We discussed some kind of possible notification if someone's an online customer and payment doesn't go through. Is there any way to notify them before we go into the shut-off phase?
And Mayor, you and I had talked a little bit about that, and I actually have a different solution from what we last talked about. So
Okay.
I have to tell you about that. We used to use a system called Code Red,
Mm-hmm.
and that was where we had a system that was automatically set up where if you were you had not paid your bill, you were set to be turned off, it would call you and it would tell you that. Most of the time what folks would do is they would see it was a call, they thought it was telemarketer, they'd hang up, but then they'd see Westminster and then they would call in to City Hall.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, we were able to contact folks. Our utility billing software had an upgrade about 4 or 5 months ago, and ever since they did that upgrade, that integration has not worked. And we have worked with that company, and we're just kind of banging our heads. I think what it comes down to is an old platform, which was the calling system, with a new platform that just won't work together. What we are looking at that I hope to be able to bring back to council at your September meeting is an actual app on the phone that will allow people to subscribe to it. And on days that bills are due, it'll send out a push notification saying today utility bills are due, check. And then we will have the ability to send out a push notification. And we don't have to have their email or their phone number to do it. The customer would just download the app and the push notification would go to anybody that's in there. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
So we've reviewed some more of that app today. It costs about $3,900 for us to use it for a whole year. But it's got a lot of functionality, just like you might not know this, but we've had a couple of outages with this storm coming through. We will be able to push out. We've got an outage in this area. Here's how long we think restoration will be. Any time that we have some issue, if there was a full water advisory, we would be able to push that out. It would also allow, and I think Herb is probably the most excited about this, if it rains, he can do a push notification that says games are canceled tonight, practice delayed, whatever it will be. So where I thought we were just kind of at an impasse between two types of software, we now have this other means that I think we'll be able to accomplish the same goal. And like I said, it'll help if we have current phone number and email, which folks are supposed to provide us when they set up an account, but sometimes phone numbers change or emails that people check change. We'll be able to do that with the app, whether we have that information or not. So I hope we have that ready to at least demo to you as a council in September. We pulled the trigger on Go today, so it's a matter of organizing this information. I hope you all will be pleased with it. We will be able to notify any and everybody across every function that we do. We have seen some of our neighboring cities, or some South Carolina cities that has used it, and it appears to be working really well for them.
So what's the cost on it?
$3,900 per year.
And we're good, we can cover that?
We can cover
No
that.
problem.
It's worth it on the utility side.
Yeah.
It really, one utility cycle would
Well,
probably.
that'd work during storms and emergencies and all that too, wouldn't it?
Yeah, we can also tie directly into like National Weather Service database. So if they issue a thunderstorm alert, it can push right through our system as well.
All right, now, the big question though, if someone tries to pay their utility bill and it doesn't go through, and I know we've talked about that, some people use cards that they know don't work anyway, so, that's an issue, but would it notify people before we went to shut off if their payment didn't go?
I think, and I'll have to give you a definitive answer in September, I think if you owe a bill and we're about to pay you off, that morning that we send what we call sending the boys out, that we would be able to send that push notification out that morning and say, here's what's about to happen. Or we could send it out the night before to give people a chance to pay by 8 a.m.
So you could send it to individual numbers?
It'll kind of, we've got to get in and make sure we know how all the system works. But we do have folks that that attempt to pay online, and sometimes through no fault of their own, it doesn't go through and they end up on the cutoff list at 8 a.m. We have had that happen. We don't have any other way of notifying those folks than what we do right now, which is nothing.
Right.
To let them know that it didn't go through. The way that the software generates that report doesn't pull anything out that we don't ask for if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that's a start.
I think this will be a very good solution. Like I said, both chiefs were pretty impressed by it. Scott was, Herb was really excited because we wouldn't have to have 500 group texts to say
Yeah.
those kind of things. So,
All right.
and I think it will allow us to communicate concisely, directly with the customers, things that they want to know. So we'll have something ready for you come September.
Sounds great. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you looking into that. Anybody have anything else?
I've got something. Of course, y'all know that I deal with the Bigfoot Festival and stuff like that, or involved with it. Since we started talking years ago about Brian's dream and everybody's dream of having the rec park and everything, one of the things that the Bigfoot committee had been talking about was trying to grow a little bit as that ballpark, as Horton Fields came online. And there was a dream there of actually having tournaments go on at the same time that we have the festival going on. That's coming to fruition this year. We talked with Herb. Herb's been in touch with Titan Tournaments, a fellow named Ted Tillery, and he's super excited about it. They're out of Georgia. He talked to him one morning. Within 2 hours, he sent flyers back. And so on October 10th and 11th, the festival's 9th and 10th, but the 10th and 11th, which is a Saturday and Sunday, there's going to be a 2-day competition of baseball. They're calling it the Bigfoot Brawl. Be 8U and 9U through 18U teams. And then softball-wise, they're calling that the Bigfoot Bash. And that's going to be 8U and 10U through 18U. We're really excited. I think it's going to be good for the city, good for the community. We ought to have a big group of people coming in. I think last year the festival estimated somewhere between 50 and 60,000 people over 2 days. You add in a baseball tournament, some for the kids, and some for those teams to do and those parents to do in between games and after games. I think it's going to be great for the city, and it's right in line with the values and the vision of the Bigfoot Festival Committee in helping not only Westminster, but Oconee County, upstate South Carolina. So there you go. And I'll get these flyers sent out to y'all soon. I just got them today.
Very good. Sounds exciting.
Yes, sir.
Anything else, council? All right, we'll move on to routine business. Comments from the utility director, Mr. Parris.
Got a few things for you this evening. Our electric undergrounding project is getting close to completion. The equipment's been mounted, the lines have been pulled, and they're in the process of finishing up the tie-ins and doing some testing on those lines. So we hope to have that completed soon. The Lucky and James Street water line projects, those, the line on James Street was tested today. There's pressure testing, and there's some other samples and things going on, but those should actually be going online within the next couple of weeks. So those services will then be tied in, and the other lines abandoned at that point. And just to remind that, the Lucky Street section was done about 3 months ago. So this will be the last portion of that project.
Scott, how many customers does that affect? I know Lucky Street was a very small amount.
There was a small amount there on Lucky. I think there was like 6 or so on there, but their service was next to nothing. And also was the senior center there, Ms. Gaywoods. And on James Street, I believe there were 12, 14, I think, on that whole section there. And there again, it was a section that had old galvanized lines and very little flow and pressure. So one neighbor was using the water, the other may not have anything. So this is going to correct that. It's also putting fire hydrants in those areas so they'll have access to fire protection.
What was the cost on that section? Do you have a breakdown?
I don't have it in front of me.
Is that the $444,000?
Yes,
44 cents.
That's it. Yeah, that's the memorable number. $444,444.44.
For 12 to 14 customers.
Total of about 20.
Total about 20.
Yes.
So that's the cost for us to upgrade lines in the system now.
Correct.
So how many years will it take to recoup that? Don't answer that. Keep moving. Go on to the next section. I know it needs done. I just want people to realize why we don't just redo these things. It's a tremendous cost.
Yeah, and these were a desperate need. And
Yeah.
we have others in the system that are that way. This was the most benefit.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, our other, next one is our skate project. So, folks have been in design with that for our layout of our computer system. And we've got equipment that's been coming in. They're gonna be moving in within the next 2 to 3 weeks to get everything installed and start doing some testing on site. The Downtown Streetscape project, there's been a lot of progress there. They planning on pours for Wednesday and Thursday this week. There'll be a lot of concrete going down as long as the rain doesn't slow them down. They're nearing the point of being able to repave Main Street. So that's their goal. Once they get all the concrete in place, that way they won't have to have any other heavy trucks and equipment on that section. They'll come back there to the asphalt. So they, the irrigation has been running. The underground electric is in place. Taylor's and his guys are getting those, I think they're going to get those energized in the next day or so. Cables are in place, the transformers are in place. One transformer is waiting to come back. He's got a dual feed on it, so we'll be able to get customers switched over. The light poles are about to be cleaned and repainted or powder coated, so they'll be ready to go. The bases are going into the light poles as part of this concrete pour, so within the next 2 weeks or so, I would say you're going to see a big difference on Main Street. You should see a big difference there. There again, as long as these storms don't slow them down too much, it should make a big difference.
We have an estimated completion date.
That's kind of bounced around, but on his schedule, I believe it was the 24th of September was his completion date.
Yeah, his current contract has it going through the 24th. We've not added any rain dates to that.
Right.
So we get another week or two closer, we'll see. We have been driving hard to have as much of that done by Apple Festival as possible. It will not be ready to be used, right, but if we can, like Scott said, get that surface down, then at least it won't be a mud puddle out there.
Be a good showing of the progress throughout the festival.
Scott, or Kevin, either one of y'all that want to talk to this, there's a lot of conversation about the narrowness of the street and the traffic calming and what that actually is. Can you kind of address how changing those, the angle of those parking spaces kind of narrows the road just a little bit, but it calms the traffic, and plus with the intersection of those rises or the height there, how that actually works? So people are just questioning it. And I know Charles addressed it to some degree in a video that he did, but just to get it out here in forum.
Yeah, if you go back to when we did the public meetings to actually come up with the elements that are in that design, the initial plan called for there to be an amphitheater down by the railroad tracks, and everybody's like, well, that seems silly to put an amphitheater that close to the railroad tracks. And Seaman and Whiteside came back with that pavilion that will be out there, which I think everyone will be pleased with when it's done. If you go back and remember, at the time we were having complaints about people speeding down Main Street, particularly on that section. So as you come down about right in front of where the music center is going to be, it will actually raise up. You'll go across, I don't know, 15 feet, 20 feet, and then it comes back down. So if that old school way of hauling it through there, if you were to do it again, you'll go airborne. The narrower lanes that were put in there was so that we could have the angled parking and be able to keep as many of the same number, or as close to the same number of parking spots as we had pre-construction. I think we ended up losing just a few, and when I say a few, 2 or 3 from what we had before. So the two things together, one was to calm that traffic down, get people to slow down. My hope is that that happens and you get all of those buildings occupied, nobody's going to care how slow you go because they're looking for a parking spot to be able to go into the business. But it will be a very different configuration than what we have now. One of the other things that we have corrected with the streetscape is the various heights of curb that led up to the buildings, which we still have that. If you go to Moons, depending on where you step, you have no step, 2 steps, or 3 steps in different heights. And that's because the height of the road and the height of the building are so much different. On the new section, it will all be 1 6-inch curb step, and that'll be it. So that was a lot of that took a lot of time in this, in the schedule. Did that answer your question?
I believe you did.
Okay.
I'm just making sure anybody, that may have a question gets that out. That's good.
Yeah.
I know we had somebody, test out the speed bump type stuff
But
already.
we did have an older gentleman that wanted to test out whether or not the stop sign worked, and it didn't. He came right through it, but no one was hurt.
That's right. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Scott.
So you mentioned what you just mentioned about not being able to use it. What will it take for us to be able to use it for Apple Festival? I know we need the handrails up, but how far along does he have to be?
He's the contractor. He controls the site, so he's got to be comfortable with what's there before we say anybody can walk on it, because he would own the liability if and I'm saying the contractor, if he pulls that, what I would just call the fencing. Right now it's barricades. And we have some folks that walk in there, nothing that's been concerning. It will be up to him to make that call. I think if we have the asphalt down and he's able to get this next concrete pour, which will include the sidewalks that will go in there, it's just going to be a nail biter, Mayor.
It is.
If he can get those pours in, I think we will be at the point where people could walk around there, but he's going to have to be comfortable with that. And he also knows who Miss Louise McClure is. So.
Bless him. Yeah. So when's the schedule for the handrails going up? Because that's my big concern, because we're not going to keep people out of there. In fact, we have Apple Festival, people are going through there. They're going to be walking all over that. And if that handrail's not up on that wall, there's a big liability issue for him if it's still under contract, and us as well.
We'll put up some more of that, the orange fencing. That temporary fencing to tell people not to go in there. It would be up to Fred and his guys to keep people out.
No. It'd be great if we could get some kind of plan together with him so we could use that. I mean, if we have to pull him out for a day or 2 days for the festival and then let him come back in to finish, I think it'd be huge.
If we're down to punch list, I don't think it's an issue.
Yeah.
It just comes down to how much of that service.
What he can get done in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
What you hear right now is usually what is floated down.
Okay. Good job. Anything else? All right, move on to comments from the city administrator, Mr. Bronson.
All right, well, I'm sorry I jumped in on Scott's fun time. First, I want to recognize Chief Miller. He's got a new officer to introduce to you.
Hey, my name's Michael Girl. I come from Senate Police Department. I've got 13 years of experience, and I'm really looking forward to this new community.
Welcome, Westminster.
And we invited Officer Durham to our staff meeting today, and the way we bless the new employees, we bring them in and we say, all right, what's your phone number? And everybody in the room sends them a text with their name, and it's fun to watch their phone blow up. But what that does is that enables all the city, the department heads and supervisors to have contact directly with the new employees. It's your first day.
Yes, sir.
And come back tomorrow. Perhaps. Yeah. Thank you for coming tonight. Really appreciate Michael coming over. He's raising a nice young family here in Oconee County, so we're very, very proud of him being on our team. Chief, you got anything else to say about Officer Durham?
No, he was good.
Yeah, he's good. All right. Quick update on the Horton Outdoor Recreational Fields. We'll have the ribbon cutting on August the 21st at 4 o'clock. Everyone is invited. You can invite people if you want to. One of the things that happened since we set the date and invited a whole lot of folks is the Horton executives will not be able to make the ribbon cutting. They are going to come, their whole board is going to come back in September. So we will schedule some event that will include them in a celebratory fashion. They were fine with us proceeding with the August 21st. Herb is really anxious to, let's cut that ribbon and say it's officially open. And it'll be warm that day. We've already borrowed a tent from Blue Ridge Electric. We're gonna have some fans, and some cold drinks out there. Drinks everyone can drink. Felt like that sounded the wrong way. And hope everyone will come out and enjoy the day. Herb has got at least 1 or 2 teams lined up to play a game after we do the ribbon cutting, just so people can get out there and enjoy what we're doing in a kind of informal capacity. And then the last thing that I'll say on the Bartram Statue project update, I sent all of you a link in the admin report. We now have the website active. Phil is here. Phil, thank you. With the Oconee County accommodations tax between funding from them and the Lazy Daisy Garden Club. Davey, thank you. We were able to get that website up and running, and if you look at it, it is a very nice website that will tell people what we're doing with that statue project. And I believe the URL for that is williambartramsc.com. Very easy to remember. We are also working on additional funding grants. It's grant season, if y'all don't know that, fall time, that we'll be submitting for additional grants to be able to complete that project, hopefully by the end of the year, first of next year. And I have no other comments.
Have you got any update on the Trojan statue, Mr. Davis?
I spoke to the gentleman. I did notice that it's not where it used to be. I don't know if he's having it cleaned. But the way we left it with him was after we finished the streetscape, they wanted to come back and see if there was an area near the gazebo that they felt would be a good place to put it, and then we would come back with you with that application.
Thank you, sir. Anybody have anything else, Mr. Brunson? I'll move on to item 3, 4, and 5, consideration of June 9 City Council regular meeting minutes, June 23rd. Can we do each one? Can we do them all combined?
As long as the motion includes all 3, you'll be fine.
So do we have a motion to do all 3?
I have to say motion to consider all 3 special meeting minutes, all regular and special calls.
Second.
Any discussion? Call for a vote?
Charles?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes, ma'am.
Jimmy?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes, ma'am.
Jamie?
Yes, ma'am.
Jamie? Yes.
Next, move on to old business is consider the second reading ordinance 2026-08-11-01. Need a motion for that one.
A motion to consider the second reading of ordinance 2026-08-11-01.
Second.
Motion and a second. Mr. Bronson?
Yes, sir, Mayor. You and council approved this on first reading. I believe it was unanimous to sell what we call a no-name street, which is what SCDOT called it, which is next to the old flower shop, or the flower shop right there in between what was the greenhouse. I don't really have a good mark. Y'all know where it's at.
Yeah.
And DOT deeded that over to us because they didn't have a use for it. And Long Creek Holdings was the only entity that submitted an offer under sealed bid to purchase the property for $5,000. And you see how they intended to use it to add to the footprint of the parcel that goes with the flower shop. I think that would be a great use. I don't believe we had identified any utilities that were in there. And if you approve it, then Mr. Denny and get together with Long Creek and settle the close.
Everybody good?
Yep.
Call for a vote?
Dale,
Yes, ma'am.
Jimmy,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes, ma'am.
Jamie,
Yes, ma'am.
Davy,
Yes.
Next, need a motion to consider reading of ordinance 2026-08-11-02.
Make a motion to consideration of second reading of ordinance 2026-08-11-02.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second.
Do you want to do dog and pony show? Do you want to talk about it? What I would like to do, Gary Pope Jr. is on the phone. He's been patiently waiting. I always like to make a snide remark that the attorneys get paid whether he's waiting or not. Gary, I'm going to put you on this speaker again. So Gary is here. If you have any questions, he and Lawrence Flynn wrote the ordinance that you have here. Let's put this in here. Gary, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Here we go. All right, Mayor, I apologize for all the gadgetry. I'm gonna walk over here now and. Okay, so most of this you've seen before. A little bit of so I lost my font there. Just this year, the Municipal Tax Relief Act was passed for cities that were within counties that had not adopted the local option sales tax. That was started out as 3, Beaufort, Greenville, and Oconee. Turns out Beaufort County had actually used a local option sales tax a number of years ago for transportation projects. So it narrowed it, the 2 counties or the cities within the 2 counties in the state that it then applied to is Greenville County and Oconee County. Quick facts, this was it's voter controlled. All you're voting for tonight is, well, your ordinance has 2 things in it. One is to put the ballot on the question, or the question on the ballot. My apologies. And the other is whether or not the voters, if they approve it, will they approve for you to bond, to borrow money to do the projects? Those are 2 separate questions that go on there. The voters could say yes to the tax and no to the bonding. The really interesting thing is if they say yes to the bonding and no to the tax. But they would actually be 2 separate questions. I won't go through all this other than to say, kind of focus on the minimum or the middle one right there, strict spending limits. What you agreed to tonight is what it is. There is no change in it. You can't change the percentages. You can't change the projects. You can't change the amounts. So I don't know how I lost all my fun coloring. What we are giving you in terms of projects meet the criteria of the state law. Oh wait, this isn't the right one. There are some questions that are open to interpretation. And after talking with the legal counsel, we don't want to be on the cutting legal edge of what we approve in terms of projects. So the projects that we've given you are ones that we are confident meet the statutory requirements. One of the attorneys when we were doing this said that they're fairly certain that the legislature knows what recreation is and they didn't use that language in the statute. We also believe they know what water and sewer lines are and they didn't use that in the statute. So we're following what they gave us. So you have to set a minimum of the collections of the tax has to go, 20% has to go to property tax relief. That is for 4% property owners, so owner occupied housing. It will not apply to 6% properties. After you set that minimum of 20%, you can set it higher. You can set it at 100% if you want, or any increment there in between 20 and 100. Anything that you have available, then that's what you're setting the project totals on. You might recall that when we talked about this last time, Lawrence Flynn recommended that you do projects in excess of what we project the amount to be. That way, if we collect more, you've already got the projects identified. You're going to rank order them, so if we collect less, then the projects at the bottom just would not get done. So when we go through that part of the discussion, if, for instance, we say we believe we're going to have $2 million to go toward projects, I'm going to encourage you to adopt 2.2 or 2.5 million worth of projects. Then if we only get 2 million, then whatever's above that 2 million just falls out and you don't do. Remember, you can't change it once you set it. We got these numbers from the Department of Revenue. They actually pulled sales tax collections in Westminster, and then they did an estimate of what they thought we would be able to receive. And so the reason that 26-27 is so small is because it's only for a short period of time. So on average, you're looking between $359 and $416 per year in taxes. And I'm proud to tell you I did not come up with those numbers. So it messed up a little bit. So some folks have wanted to know what does it, how could it affect me? And when we look at some of the charts here, if you have your home is assessed at $200,000, how do you calculate your tax bill? If it's at 4%, I mean owner occupied, and you take 4% of $200,000, that gives you your assessed value, and then you multiply it times the millage rate, and then you have your city taxes due. So I'm not calculating anyone else's taxes. I'm not calculating Oconee County's taxes. If there's a special mill in there for something else, this is just the city tax rate. So roughly on a $200,000 home, you're going to pay about $750 in city taxes annually. So as my friend Joel Ledbetter at PNPA likes to say, bit of an eye chart. There's a lot going on this. So I'm going to point you to the red arrow and the two circles. The county auditor provided us these numbers. So for fiscal year 25, what you see over on the left side, where it says real property classified as legal residence, you can see what the total assessed value is in the city, about 2.6 million at 4%. And then for FY26, it was about 2.8. So I think that's about a 6.08% difference. Not that I can calculate it that quick. I just calculated it earlier and remembered the number. And then this is how the rest of our tax revenue breaks down that the millage gets applied to that we receive in taxes. Again, using a combination of everybody's numbers, I'll walk you through this chart. If you look at the amount of assessed value we have in the city, which is under the 4% assessed, the change between 25 and 26 was 6.02. I think I said 6.08. I was trying to impress you and I messed up. I'm sorry. I used a much more conservative growth rate when I did the rest of the annual increases. So I used 4% because I only have 1 year to go off of. I don't know if 6.02 is an anomaly, if we're really much higher than that. I can tell you that 4%, 6% combined typically runs between 4 and 7% annual growth rate. Mayor, you'd asked that earlier. Over the last 10 years, I had already looked that up. So I believe 4% is a good number, is a conservative number to put in the percent change. You then apply our millage, so the revenue we could expect to receive each year falls out right here on assessed value. So first step for you as a council is decide the allocation. So if you did I'll kind of orient you on this screen, and then the next 3 or 4 screens is the same information, just with a different calculation. Looking at 20% to tax relief, 80% to projects. If you focus on this column right here, you'll see this is the amount of money you have to go toward property tax relief. This is the amount you have to go to projects. If you look at what the citywide savings would be on tax millage, that's this column. Under a normal $200,000 home, like we talked a minute ago, they would be paying $750,000, or goodness, nobody wants a $750,000. $750 tax bill. This would be their rebate, meaning it gets calculated and sent to the county auditor, and they see an adjustment on their tax bill. They don't actually get it in the mail. This is what that rebate would be. And then this is what their new effective tax rate would be. This is what their effective millage rate would be. So this is all theoretical. They're still paying whatever you set the mills to be. It's just theoretic. The effective is, what is that new tax if you apply it to our current millage rate? I hope that's not too complicated. So that's option 1. At a minimum, you have to do this. We have option 2, if you did 30% tax relief and 70% projects. So again, you're looking over here first. Here's what the property taxes would be, the projects, what the effective mills would come out to be, the difference between the tax rates. I'll give you just a second. I'll show you the next scenario. So number 3, if you go with the 40% tax relief, 60% projects, here's what you see. And you can see these numbers right here just keep going down. If you do 50-50, 50% going to property tax relief, 50% going to projects, you see that effective millage rate is getting even lower, down in as low as 20%. Please keep in mind, all these numbers will change every year because what we bring in sales tax changes every year. We hope it always goes up. The assessed value will change every year. Again, we expect that to always go up. We have talked internally about constantly bringing down that millage rate, which would change this calculation. So if you brought that millage rate down again next year by another mill, that's going to affect all these calculations as well. So that's going to drive this even further. And then I think the last scenario I did was a 60-40, where you're getting down to the point where in year 5, someone would actually be paying only $91 in property taxes with an effective millage rate of 11.4. I guess the lowest being down here at 5.2 mils, which is pretty attractive. I'm not trying to influence your decision. My job is just to give you scenarios. So you have 5 options I've given you. I do have a wonderful spreadsheet if you'd like to see me calculate it. If you want to try, I think Jamie wanted to see a 52, 48. You're kidding. Okay.
Don't take my comedic that's fact.
So one of the first decision you have to make, and I'll go through and show you the rest of it, but this is going to be your first decision to make tonight. The next one is you have to select the project, put an amount to it, and then prioritize it. So when I talked about what are we trying to stay out of trouble for, and I'm sorry that last line didn't show, this is what the legislature clearly delineated as eligible projects. So it doesn't say, I wish it said playground equipment because I would have loved to put Anderson Park on here. I think you'd have had a lot of support for that, but it doesn't. This is what it says, and this line down here says any combination of A and B. So these are projects we came up with, and these are big numbers. We did not have, and we talked about this last time, we did not have time to actually go out, pull measurements, get estimates. So we sat down and said, what is a bold but realistic number for each one of these projects that we're proposing? You may have other projects that we can talk about, whether or not it applies or not. These would all work. You also could choose, I'll use the helo pad for a second. That's really high. And I didn't know that until Michael sent me some actual numbers later. You can choose that to be whatever number you want it to be, and that's the amount that gets applied to the project. So then you do it at whatever the funding allows, or you use it as a match for a grant later. Same thing with Horton Outdoor Rec. You could say we want that to be number one, but we only want to put $500,000 toward that, and we want to use money elsewhere. So what you have to do is decide the project, the amount, and then you've got to rank them in order, 1 through N, whatever that's going to be. So these are the same ones that you should have seen. I don't think we added any since you did first reading. The helo pad, what did we come back with that number at? It was much less than that 350.
I think 95 was safe.
95, yeah. So we also tried to stick with items that we thought were not just putting a long list of wish lists together. If you go out and you look at any of these things, these are all things that we need. This would be great funding mechanisms for. We didn't go out and do dreaming as a, you don't see, well, splash pad wouldn't have qualified, but we didn't do dreaming with this. We're very pragmatic. So once you decide the percentage, you know how much money you've got, then you can rank priority or assign the project, the amount, and then whatever the total will be. So why don't we go, and that's, I believe, the end of what I've got, yeah. So for you, council, you have multiple options there. So I will be quiet now. And Gary Pope is on the line, so if you have specific questions, he can answer those. And we'll turn it over to you to kind of hash this out. I'll stand up here so I can go back and forth, and when we get to the project list, I can do a quick tally.
Well, Kevin, and council, I guess, I think, number one, I'm thankful the state is letting us do this now. And I think the primary objective for us is to present this to the taxpayers as an opportunity to lower their property taxes while still getting some of these projects done and letting the people who use these properties, like Horton and the depot parking lot, you've got all the people in the community use these parking lots. They benefit from our police officers. Everything we do in town benefits everybody that lives around town, but they don't have to pay for it. This way, if you purchase things in Westminster, you're helping pay for that, and it's not put on the taxpayer's back. But I think number one priority is this is a way to save property taxes on the residents. So when we start thinking about those percentages, I think that's something we need to make sure this is not going to pass unless the public feels like it's a benefit to them. It's something that's helping them. So that's my thought on that. So we can figure out which one y'all want to go with.
And this isn't completely funded by the citizens of the city. This is anybody coming through, purchasing, buying. So we're getting some assistance there. It's not just one weight on the city's back. I think it's a great idea.
And also, it's not on gasoline or groceries or pharmaceuticals.
Right. Prescriptions, yeah.
In the city.
And all the projects need done. At some point, the city's going to have to do it. It's either going to be the taxpayers paying for it, or we can do this, get them done sooner, and let shoppers help pay for it.
Well, I've done some figure. Go figure.
Have at it.
So, what's the average income of a resident of Westminster?
No idea.
$40,946. Okay, that's what our average resident, according to census data, has stated. And when you look at these, and because I know the pushback will be about it being a consumption tax, how much would I have to consume to make up the difference of what I pay or what I receive and what I have to pay? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So if I get a $204 deduction, I'm just on the, I'll go to your slide since it's up. So if I look at year 2 on 4%, I get roughly $407. Okay, how much do I have to spend in town to equal to give back that $407? Anybody got any idea? You're going to have to spend $40,700 taxable on taxable items.
Mm.
Now, didn't we just say the average income was $40,900 and change?
Yes, sir.
I think it's a benefit. That benefit for people, for us to allow people from the outside to help subsidize our town. For the resident of the town, for the taxpayer of the town, if they were able to get $407 in relief, most people aren't going to spend $40,700 on taxable items in town.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and basically it's just moving the decimal places, 2 places after that last digit. And to me, that makes sense. But it's not up to me, it's up to the voter.
Right.
You know, I'll be honest, I think there's been some discussion to not go to 50-50. And when you look at it 50-50, and they would thank you, Kevin. So year 2, I've got to spend $50,900. Year 3, I've got to spend $52,200 in town. $53,500 in town. Okay? I'm sorry, but I try to spend as much money as I can in town, but I don't spend $50,000 a year in town on taxable type items. So in the end, it becomes a net benefit for a majority of the citizens if the numbers pan out to provide the relief on property taxes. But my biggest question, because we're going to get asked that, well, actually there'll be 2 of them. A lot of people have mortgages. So how does this work with escrow property taxes? So if I'm paying my mortgage monthly and I'm paying my escrow items and property tax and insurance, this is a rebate to the county. How does that work with somebody that has a mortgage now that's already escrowed? How does that affect their monthly payment? That may be a key kind of question. I don't know.
Well, I think in most mortgage companies, whatever financial institution it is, calculates based on what your escrow should be based upon your prior year's taxes, your insurance was being withheld. And at the end of the year, they determine whether you got a shortfall or an overage, and they then adjust it next year. So the homeowner's not going to lose.
They won't lose. But what I'm wondering is how in the future does it affect their payment, or do they get a rebate back from their escrow annually?
Well, now I think the city can address that. I think every financial institution handles how they handle their collection on that payment. But what I've experienced, I think you experienced, and no one else has a mortgage. Basically, if there's an overage, then your payment doesn't change. And if you've got too much in it, then basically the next year when they reevaluate, make your payment change goes down a little bit.
So it may take a year or 2 to see it in the mortgage payment based on recalculation.
Right, but that's not a city control issue. That's basically the financial institution evaluating what they've got on hand, basically make that hazard payment insurance payment as well as your tax payment.
And at the conclusion of 8 years, if you've been getting the last year there, if you get $550 rebate, that looks like a big tax increase at the end of 8 years. So this is renewable.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You could do it every 8 years. Is that what they told us before? Yeah.
But it's an action. It's not.
Yeah, it has
it's
to be
not an auto thing. So
deliberate. Yeah.
8 years from now, if whoever's on council would want to do it, they would have to proactively put it back on the ballot
Well, that's assuming that the county hasn't adopted it.
Yes.
Yeah. Then it tells a lot that there are only 3 counties in the state that don't do it, or hadn't done it. Everybody else does it. Everywhere you go on vacation does it. Everyone who has
Pickens County, you paying.
Yeah, everyone who has a tourist come through their town gets help on their taxes. We don't. Our primary resident homeowners pay the taxes for everything. So the big thing, perception is everything, and we have people that absolutely throw some just ridiculous fits because of a water rate increase. It'll increase their cost of water $24 over an entire year. If we can show them we can save them $400 or $500 a year on taxes, you would think it'd be a no-brainer, but it's the perception. A lot of people still see it as a tax increase. It's not really a tax increase. If you're a resident, other people are helping pay those taxes. So
this is one tax that you can't control by your spending tax.
Yeah, exactly.
So, to me, it's a fair tax. It's a consumption tax versus a blanket tax.
Well, I like the 50% as well. I think half and half, that to me is just a fair trade-off, and the 50%, that's a pretty big rebate on people's property taxes.
That was what I chose, option 4, 50/50. Take that.
I hear something clicking over here. You clicking? You good?
That's what I had, 50/50. I went through and picked out my projects.
So you got everything ready then? All right. Well, let's move on then. All right, so the 50/50, do we have any other options?
Do we need to vote on this option first and then the second one? Or
Well, your vote is on the ordinance, which includes this information. So my suggestion to you is you agree in principle.
Yeah, we need an agreement on one and then move.
When you have settled all that, then you vote on the ordinance, which then
as a whole.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we have anybody that wants something other than the 50/50? So we're all good with the 50/50? Okay. Next we move on to the projects. Well, first of all, we didn't go the year. I mean, we're looking at 8 years. Does anybody want to do less than 8 years, or does everybody go with the 8 year?
And you go from 9?
Okay, so we got the 8 year, we got the 50/50, then we got projects. So, suggestions on those from anybody?
Let's call them out now. From 1 through 5, we get as close to that, what was the 50/50 total? It was 1.56 or something like that?
15645.
All right, so if you put, in my opinion, and obviously open for discussion, right? If you put the next section of downtown streetscape as number 1, because I'm a firm believer that if you build it, they will come. That's the only way you're going to get business down here, right? Number 2, the police department building renovations, because that's all we talked about was how we're going to keep this community safe. Number 3, the helo pad, which turns out to be a fraction of the cost that's actually listed on there.
So Michael said 95.
Okay.
Michael, what do you do now for a helicopter landing?
They land in the grass, and we have to make sure a fire truck's sitting out here when they land. If you have a helo pad that's designated with proper lighting and everything, you don't even have to be here. They just land and wait on you to show up.
So freeze
Huey
over
Key put one in a few years ago. And I got a lot of my information from them. Depending on compaction and testing and all, that's where a lot of the money's gonna come in. We may even get it done cheaper. They spent $240,000, but they had to have a lot cleared, a hollow field in, because they done it right beside the fire plant. So a safe number is 95, but it could be 70.
Right.
Yeah.
And it could be more. We'll just use that 95. Number 4, I had the Westminster Fire Department storage facility. Once again, that public safety aspect of it. And number 5 was parking at the Yusuf Fields, because that's a little bit of a mess over there, especially if it ever starts raining. And I would even go as far as that's going to come up a little bit short now due to the new pricing that we see on the helo pad. I would put the rest of it towards the Horton outdoor parking lot. I know that everybody wants to have that as paved and ready to go, but I believe the benefit for the community is greater through these other items.
I'll go next. I thought about this, Mayor, when you talked to us about things that bring in revenue, what are these purposes of these things? So that's really what has guided me. So I started out with the Horton parking lot with Shea because the numbers of people that serves is just humongous. It's just the beginning, and so I did that. Then the use of Medford Field public parking, again, that has just been a wonderful addition, but it needs parking because they don't have anywhere to park. And then my next one is the police department renovations. I believe we have a wonderful chief, internally foundation, he's got a great department, but we need to give him those renovations to make it the very best in South Carolina. And I think that was something we could do. So, and then the last would be depot parking lot servicing. And I say that because of all the festivals downtown and different things. It can be used as places for vendors and things like that when it's a little bit better. So those were mine. 4.
Okay. Anyone else? Have any suggestions?
I'll jump in on it. I agree with agree with Jamie on the streetscape and the police department being 1 and 2, and Davey also. The helipad pad's important. One thing that I throw in there in question, if it falls into this, would be the gymnasium floor, the existing gymnasium floor. I think we got some numbers maybe a year or 2 ago. Somebody gave us a quote. But we have a lot of the senior citizens that go there and walk in the morning. We got the kids that are having to play on that gym until we can get something else. It almost looks like an ocean if you lay down and look down the floor. It's kind of weighty.
I don't believe that qualifies.
Okay. I didn't know because of the Civic Center side of things, but okay.
It is called a civic center, but we do use it as a gym. I think that would. Keith or Gary, either one of you guys have any idea? It's Gary, just for your benefit. We have a gym. It's called a civic center. It's used for more than just a gym, but it is principally used as a gymnasium.
So I'll definitely defer to the experts that deal with this every day, but I mean, the spirit of the statute did not include recreation. Again, you don't want to get into a legal issue later on, but then burn some of your dollars in a litigation issue. So if you're doing this for the first time, I think caution probably is the better way to go.
Especially as we guinea pig ourselves, I'd hate to see us get into that situation also and find out it doesn't fit.
So your first one was the streetscape? And what was the next one?
Police department and the helipad, definitely. We need to do something with Eustace Field parking lot and the senior citizen parking lot. If we can fit that in, would be fantastic. They need somebody. I look over there at that gravel and stuff, and I think about how uneven that can be. People walking, and some of those people have difficulties keeping that out. It'd be fantastic.
Kevin, streetscape. We're going to be applying for grants to move on with that. I mean, we've got enough to finish what we've got on this phase here.
Yes.
The next phase, it's eligible for grants, right?
It's eligible for grants, and a number of folks have asked me, like, what would the timing be? Once that construction is complete, it'll take us about 9 months to a year to close out all the paperwork that we have to do, because that's federal and state and federally sourced money. So let's just say it's finished in October of 26. It would possibly be October 27 before that's closed. Then in order to apply, we would have to have the next section designed, means you have to have the engineering. That took us about 13, 14 months last time. Now, the next phase will, I don't think, be as expensive nor as timely because we aren't dealing with that Gray Street underpass. You're just coming down the road. And then to get into the cycle of funding, and like I said a minute ago, there's spring and fall funding, and I think it would be around 2028, into 28, 29, before we would be back up to bidding it out. Now, I don't know what that would take to actually get it done. So it's got a lag, but you know, we've been patient. We first planned that in 2022. And even though it's 2026 now, it seems like those last 4 years went by fast for me.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because some of these projects we can apply for grants, we may be able to get them done anyway. Some of them we couldn't get with grants.
Yes.
So what on this, grant-wise, would we be able to do besides the streetscape improvements? Is there anything else on there that would be, that grants would be available for?
Grants are available for pretty much everything on here, Mayor. And I'll use, since we're calling it Michael's Helopad, which just feels fun to me. There may come a time where FEMA puts money out, or the Department of Public Safety puts money out for that kind of thing, and we could go after that money there. It all depends on what each agency puts out each year as their priorities. That could be funded there. Pretty much everything on there could be funded through something else, except probably the police department. And I would say maybe the fire department storage, because they would very likely call that just regular maintenance. Street resurfacing on emergency lane, streetscape, even the depot parking lot are things that we could find grant funds for. Same thing with Horton. It's just, when does it come available is hard, very, very hard to predict.
Mm-hmm.
And we also would not be able to apply for funds that would pave the senior outreach parking.
Kevin, may I say something? We already have a grant in.
Do you?
Through the Council on Aging. Okay?
Why do I doubt you?
I know. You didn't even ask me. No.
So for the benefit of the council, would you not need that?
We would not need that. Okay. That would be fine.
You'll still give me credit for putting it on that list?
No. We've applied for $150,000.
Okay.
So that should take care of our parking.
All right.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
Okay. So if we rank these and just pick a project, say you put Horton at the top and that's number one, and then you come back and you get a grant later, what happens to that money that's not assigned at the end? Or is that why you're saying that we should always overshoot, that way we've got a project to assign these monies to?
Well, what I would say is you see if this passes, and then if it passes, we would apply those grant efforts elsewhere. Okay. So a good one would be Anderson Park.
Right.
Getting that playground equipment in, that's already kind of pretty high up.
Right.
The same thing that pays for playground equipment at Anderson Park could qualify for either the parking at Horton or Methla Fields. It just depends on what they're funding that year. So what I would take as a strategy would be, put this on the ballot. You're going to know in a few months if a grant opens up. We could evaluate it between now and November whether or not we would apply for it or not.
Okay.
And then you'll know. So when fall fund or spring funding comes back around, which is usually in, I know it sounds odd, but it's usually in February, you know what that answer will be.
Jimmy, do you have any priorities? Charles?
Well, I mean, I'm just doing math. In our walkabout earlier this year, Fred's definitely in a dire need for an evidence room and updating that building. To me, that's number one. Getting the helo pad would be number two. The depot parking lot is heavily used, especially during festivals. That would be 3 for me. 4 would be UCS Memorial Fields. 5, the Westminster Fire Department storage. And 6 would be the balance, which comes out, because I've spent right now $895,000, and then the balance of $579,500 going to Horton.
All right, so based on what we've got probably the police department renovations 4 different ones on that was their first, second, third. So that's number 1, I think. And then Eustace Field parking lot, 4 people wanted that one. That was their number 2, 4, 4, and 5. Third one would be the helo pad. Everybody agreeing with this?
Yes.
Because I'm throwing them out here. And the next one, you got Horton, but you got 2 people that there was their 6s. One where it was number 1. So we got 3 there. Downtown streetscape improvements has got 2.
What was your third one, Mayor? I'm sorry.
Third one was helo pad.
And are you comfortable taking helo pad down to?
I figured 95,000.
Yeah, it's just a slab of concrete on a grassy yard. Some lights. I mean, that's about. Yeah, I'm sitting here looking at the $500,000 police renovation. I think we'll build you a whole new building for that. I think that'll come out a lot less unless you just want to start over.
Well, we actually had some preliminary pricing done on that about 1.5 years ago. We looked at renovating the police department.
Yeah.
And it comes out to about $500,000.
Yeah, that just blows my mind what it's costing to build a building there. But I get it. It's not y'all, it's just the cost. But I got those as the top 3, and then Horton and the depot parking lot, Westminster Fire Department storage, those are about even. Streetscape, we got 2 people wanted that to be their number 1. But there again, that's 3 years out, maybe.
Yeah, I think at least.
What do you think we have the best opportunity to get a grant for? That or repaving the depot parking lot? Because those are the. No,
I
not
think
that
you
one.
have a better chance of getting streetscape funds than depot parking lot.
Right.
Because really, depot parking lot, if you're just resurfacing it, you aren't doing anything else, that's just general maintenance. That's harder to get a grant for unless you do something else other than pave it. Streetscape, a lot of times they're actually streetscape grants. That's what they're called.
All right, so would everybody be good with putting the depot parking lot as the number 4? Would y'all be good with that?
So I got your running tally right here, Mayor. This box, if you can see it, I'll highlight it. This is where that yellow box is how much money you've got left. If at 1.5 million.
All right, we've got 2 for the fire department storage facility. Y'all want to make that number 5, and then what's left go to Horton? Go toward that parking? How would y'all feel about that?
How much is that?
$100,000 for the fire department storage. That leaves us $664 to go toward the Horton parking lot.
So if
I'll pay for
I'll
the
do it in the
parking
police
lot, even if it
department.
doesn't
Sir?
have all
I'll
of
do it in the police department at all.
No, we got the police department, I think, number 1.
Kevin, do you have the numbers on the police
Yeah, the
department?
police department, the first one. That's got a 1, 2, 2, and a 3 on
Supposed
it.
to be building renovations.
So
Oh, thank you, Dave.
509-706
I
is
did.
City Hall.
Or renovation.
Oh, no, Kevin. Kevin.
He's got it. That's what they're talking about.
Oh, okay. You called it too?
Yeah.
All right. So that would put us at, that's 4. And then we added the Westminster Fire Department storage. And then the rest of it toward Horton.
You pick one more so that you go over the amount. Remember, you want to.
Well, we are if you take Horton as the next one, because you're at 8, and that's, you got what left, 6?
Well, if you put it at 8, we would be.
All right, so
So you'd be 132.
all right, what else did we get brought up here? Mr. Kaywood, you said y'all got a grant for your parking, so yours comes off.
It's in.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it will be.
Is that 132?
That's negative.
4 left?
No, we're over.
Yeah.
So we spent more than what's saved. That way if anything comes in cheaper or more revenue comes in.
All right, so the police department building renovations is 1, useless fields
You
2,
might increase the.
Helo pads 3, depot parking lots 4, storage for the fire department
You got the rank out.
5. Oh, he's got it.
So Mayor and Council, just Scott and I sidebar, and he suggested if you want to do the depot parking lot, we should probably put a money.
The depot parking lot.
So where you have it, right here at 65. And tell me if you don't.
We like Kevin's number better than yours. We'll let Kevin pave it, not you.
I was gonna put a thin layer.
You don't get a utility director to do paving, you just, okay, so that gets us more in line.
But if you have one project that you can identify as project number 7, that is like, if we collect more than all this, this is project number 7. What would you pick as that last one?
Well, haven't we talked about the emergency lane back here? There's some issues that really need to be addressed.
There are, yes.
What are
What's the issues here?
The pavement that's out front now, and it's a street. So I'm trying to get a meeting with Sammy Dixon because he says it doesn't apply for the C fund. But the asphalt out here is breaking up, coming up. They've tried some dry patching in a couple of places. It's not holding well. It's just where we run the big trucks through here. And then when you drive across it after the rain, you'll see the mud come through that.
But is that not the state's road now, or the county road?
City property.
It's our road.
I understand. Now, the county will help us push it through if we can get Mr. Dixon to get it on the C fund list. But he's indicated to Mr. Bronson that it don't apply in that case.
Is that because it's a city road?
No, city roads apply. I don't think it's actually an official street. It's gotta be an official street.
Put a name on
How do we make it?
Just make it official street, that's a big.
Well, it's got emergency lane on it, but it's gotta be.
A thoroughfare type road?
Whatever, yeah, I'm not sure how to crack that.
Where do we stand on repaving all the underpasses?
I think we'll be able to get that done with the C funds we currently have allocated. We have 1.4 million allocated to us right now, and we will use about $500,000 on the streetscape. So that would give us $900,000 to do paving around town.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had those on the next to-do list, which would be Quick Street and Oak Street.
So we don't need to put that on there.
I don't think so, no, sir. And if we can figure out the emergency lane, we'll do it. It's just kind of been a back and forth. Does it apply? Does it not?
Well, how about the parking lot for the City Hall Police Department? Maybe not that amount, but.
Yeah, you could resurface rather than like completely redo the City Hall parking lot, probably at about the same amount you did the depot. Make that your 7th project. That's what you want to do.
How bad a shape's it in? I hadn't really paid any attention.
It just looks bad.
How about we add that extending the parking over to the Masonic Lodge that you mentioned, putting the drainage ditch in?
Well, that's what would take more, because we'd have to go in and put piping in, and because right now it's a big open ditch.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're just resurfacing it, it's going to be a whole lot less than putting in new.
Okay, so what you got there, the 509?
That included the storm drainage and everything else.
Okay.
But if you just resurface it.
Well, what if we put that 509 in as number 7 and just prioritize the ditch and the expansion first? And then if we have money left over, we could resurface the whole parking lot.
You can do that. So what I would suggest is at some point you have to decide what you go out and bond.
Yep.
So you don't want to bond your last project. You actually want to leave that one out there. That way if all the conservative estimates come true, because you've got to pay for it. Once they approve it and we come up short, we got to come up with the money to do the project. So if you put that in as your last project, but you don't borrow money for that, assuming the voters approve the 1% and the borrowing, then you're kind of on the good side.
Well, what's, these numbers we have, I'm sorry. These numbers we have, do they include the cost of the bond? I mean, is all that? That's gonna take a pretty good lick.
The bond would probably cost around $75,000 in legal fees.
And then the interest on the payment?
Well, you'd have debt service, and this will cover the debt service.
Okay. All right. Well, I think when we get everything done, especially with all the streetscape work we're doing, we're not adding parking to downtown. That would be adding a little bit of parking if we had that for a final project.
Yeah, if you redid that city parking lot, as I guess I envisioned with that 509, you would certainly add parking. I mean, there really aren't parking spaces on that far side. People park over there sometimes if they need to, but if you put a storm drain in and you could go to the end of the city property with setbacks, you would actually be able to have another whole street to back parking area. I don't know how many parking spots that is.
Yeah. All right, so how does everybody feel about this? What we got?
So are you saying that number 7 would need to go in a new place? Or no?
So is this what you would anticipate, Mayor? I'm just gonna leave it at 509, I'll round it off. And that becomes project 7, and that's your last one to do.
Right. That's the one we wouldn't bond.
Yeah, you wouldn't bond it, so you wait. In 6 years, you might have collected everything, so then you're on to this one.
Well, yeah, and if we have extra money to work with, but not enough to do the whole thing, we could get the piping in and expand it.
Some part of it.
We could do part of it done. Yeah. Well, how does everybody feel about that? Everybody good? All right, Kevin, I think we're good on that one. What's next?
So you set the term at 8 years. You set the percentage at 50/50. You've picked your projects. You put pricing with your projects, and you prioritize your projects. So all that's left now is debate, vote.
Right.
The whole time.
Yeah, I don't know that we need a debate. I just hope that we can. We need a way to get the information out to the public, Kevin. I don't know if it's a press release or something, but we really need to let the taxpayers know this is not increasing their taxes. This is going to help the residents and help us get some projects done we couldn't normally do. So I think that's a big deal. And I want to say something. I need to rectify something I said in the last meeting because I thought about it when I read the paper. I had said it. This does not affect renters. The reason I said it would affect renters, it would save the renters, is somebody like me who owns several rental properties. My home taxes go down. I don't have to charge as much, but it don't affect renters. A regular tenant renting a property. People like me who live in town and rent some houses, it might help, but it's not going to help. So I need to clarify that. I was wrong when I said that the way I said it. Any other comments, questions, concerns? We've had a motion, we've had a second. Call for a vote.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Jamie?
Yes, ma'am.
Jamie?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Dale?
Yes, ma'am.
Jimmy?
Yes.
Thank you all for that. That was a little tedious, I know, but I think it's well worth it to give people opportunities for this. And
We'll let Jerry Pope Jr. get on with dinner.
he gives half rate since we didn't ask him something.
You got anything to say?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you for coming. Help us sell that. Ms. Karen, let everybody know this is new.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate
Consideration of adopting Mr. Brunt.
Yes, sir, Mayor. At the last meeting, discussed a number of things dealing with social media. My allow staff to develop you an actual to go by, something that you would consider and approve, bless, whatever you choose to do, and have that within the frameworks of policy that we would then. So that you have in front of you today is going by is for you to modify, tell us you want us to work on some more, whatever.
What do you think the cost of this?
It'll cost more rather than communicating mode and have to read. Yeah. Most of them would actually schedule ahead of time and already begun working on things that we would schedule that we would do regardless of what's in the city or the world. We will post certain things based off of the topics that you see in that policy 2 to 3 times or 3 to 4 times a week. And then as events come up that we need to communicate, we go back and post those. And we have, while Jackson Higgs was here, we set up an Instagram account, which is more pictures than it is information. But we have now that Facebook account linked to that Instagram account so we can share that information. And if you have not subscribed, if you befriended us on Facebook, I don't know what it calls, follow. You can tell who's not going to be doing it. If you followed what we call the existing city Facebook account, we are shutting that down and opening a new one because the existing one was tied to an employee's account. So we now have opened one up that's a standalone account. And I think we've posted that. Yes, so.
Is it a business account so you can track metrics?
Yes.
On that?
I believe so.
I'm gonna tell you why this is important today. I had someone ask me on one of, I'm posting your reports and information on your administrative reports. The lady asked me about something. I told her to go to the webpage and look all this information up. She said, do I have to have a FOIA to do that? That's why we need to do, they think that because they've seen so much on social media that's not true. If we don't do this, I think we're just shortcutting ourselves.
So we talked earlier about getting that app. That has a cost.
Yeah.
This policy does not. We will have to adjust before we get good at it. But by making it to a formal policy, it's in front of us and we would all begin to work together to make it happen.
One thing I would love to see is a list of the projects we've got going on, one for the utility department, one for electric, one for, water, sewer, however you wanted to do it, but this, so people can see, when they get on and see Westminster, they see what we're doing, because no one really pays attention to the meat, and it seems that those who do don't tell everybody what we're doing, they just tell everybody what we're not doing.
Well, I think it's incumbent upon us as a city and as council to put forth that information and tell the story. We talked about this now for several months, but my profession is very competitive. And in order to get out in front of people, we have to utilize all media avenues. I mean, I still utilize print, I'm utilizing digital assets, I'm using Facebook, Google, using Instagram, and that's the best way for our message to get out. And if you look at the demographics of the different social media platforms, and I think it's good that we're gonna cross post with Facebook and Instagram, because the younger people, Presley's age and such, are more Instagrammers. A lot of us, Generation X and baby boomers, we're still more Facebookers. And so, in order to communicate effectively across multiple demographics, I do think that having both is a benefit. I'm looking at page 56 of the agenda packet that you sent, and you've got your content mix. 40% city news, 20% community, 20% public safety, 20% Westminster Pride, 5 to 7 posts. So if you lose 2 city news posts, and then 1 community, 1 public safety, 1 Westminster Pride, that's 5 days. That's a post a week, or a post every day of the week. And the key to social media is consistency. If you post once a month, you don't have the consistency. But the consistent presence of us on social media platforms helps to create the engagement. And the engagement is also what drives views. And so we have to be able to utilize this, not only as staff, but also us as council. It's incumbent upon us to also share these posts to drive engagement as well. Because if we're not doing our part, they can do their 5 posts a week, but by us sharing those posts, those help also to drive the additional engagement. And for us to be engaged in the comment section too. I mean, it's up to all of us to work as a team.
You got the goal down right, become Westminster's primary source for accurate local information. I wish it still had a phone with a cord to it, but I don't. So we'll just do what we've got to do.
We need to make sure that these social media platforms, they're titled in such a way that people will know these are the official Westminster, South Carolina posts and pages and such. Because it's very easy to search Westminster and come up with something that looks like it's an official page and it's not. And it's kind of like the old TV show Dragnet. We just need to get the facts on there instead of the opinions. Unless we don't get the facts out, the opinions overrunning, and we get half truths and bad information out there.
Well, I want to.
And that may include maybe some actual physical signage here or there somewhere through the city for people who don't get on social media or who don't get those posts coming through on their feeds to say, go to this page or whatever else. Whether it's on a bill, on our bills or something else.
Depending on the platform, I think there is a way to get the page verified. I would have to look into it and see if we need the warrants to do it, but at least for Instagram and Facebook, there's a system. I don't know if there's for LinkedIn, but I can look into it. Thank you.
I know that Davey and I were both thinking the same thing about QR codes downtown for visitors. That way they know they're going to the official.
Yes. Somebody said that last time, I think.
Well, I love Chief, how you feel when you get a new officer, or, when y'all do those kind of things, that's very helpful.
I like it. I like what you got. It looks good. I think everybody else is. We have a motion.
So will we combine, like we have the fire department and the rec department on have their own pages? Will it all be on the city page now, or will it be?
Well, what we do is we will start cross-linking all those together. So each of those pages have different subscribers. Rec's by far the biggest one, and a lot of people go to that for something different than they go to PD. But when we post on the main page, we'll share that across all the pages.
And we could get monthly content pillars. You've got, I think there's 8 weekly and 1, 2, 4 different monthly ones, right? So that, if you're doing, that's a lot of posts.
It is. Well, we made it robust.
Right. And who?
Because Presley's going to need something to do every day.
That's what I was about to ask. Who is the owner of this? Who is?
Presley will end up being the bulk handler. We will, as we do everything, we do it as a team. But he already has mapped out the next month's worth of posts.
He can schedule it out.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's what you're gonna have to
schedule.
Mayor, you did mention that you wanted some posting about spotlight projects. I already have a couple days slotted in that month's schedule.
Good deal. Everybody good? Yeah. I realize you need to vote on it. Do we have to do 2 readings on this, or?
Nope, it's just one thing.
Just need a motion, a second.
Motion to approve or adopt the social media plan.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed? All right, next discussion is capital improvement plan. I think Jamie had really brought this up. It's a good idea. It looks like you've got a lot of, an extreme amount of properties we've got to look through.
Yeah, and Mayor and Council, I do apologize. This is not fully baked like I want it to be for you to actually be able to look at everything on a couple of pages. This is way more. But what we have begun to do, and Presley has done bulk of this work with the assistant of the department heads, is pull together the equipment that we need to replace. So that's fully listed here. Some of the things we have not done is the bathrooms out at Pool Field. They need to be replaced or they need to be rehabbed. You don't see those on here at this point. There will come a time where we will present to you what we think those priorities should be that encompasses not just equipment, but facilities. We just did not get to the facilities because the local option sales tax popped up. We got kind of pulled over in that direction. That's where it becomes, I think, just like you did with the project ranking, it becomes important for us to know where you want to rank this stuff so that we begin to put it in your budgets that can fit operationally without needing to borrow any money. And then what is it that down the road you're either building money up from year to year or you're looking at doing some type of municipal bond for. For the most part, we've only taken out lease purchase agreements or loans, you might call them, for equipment. We've not done that for any facilities. I think we're comfortable doing that, but like Dale mentioned, that gym floor needs to be resurfaced. It's not listed here, and it should be. The HVAC at the gym needs to be on here because it's going to be getting near its end of its useful life in the next couple of years. So we've got more things to add on here. When Charles emailed me and asked for us to go ahead and put that on here, I gave you what we have, but I want you to know this is not what I intend to be the final effort on the staff's part, but I did want to not be responsive to the request.
This is a good start to an asset list, trying to make sure that you can understand everything that, because there's a lot of moving parts in the background. You know, we can talk about all the back truck, the big things that we need, but some of these things, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a pop, they add up over time, right? So.
And I'm assuming red means it's critical, yellow is close, green good.
Yes, so the way I did it was green basically means it's fine for the foreseeable future. Yellow was it's fine for now, but it may need to be replaced in the next few years, and red was this was like it needs to be replaced as soon as possible.
Could we have them sorted out by department when we do that?
Yes, what you have here, they're actually sorted by department. If you look at the little blue tag that's toward the top.
Okay, I see that now, I'm sorry.
But, you know, like I said, we did not get to facilities, which was the next effort.
That's gonna be pretty surprising when you put all that together.
Yeah.
Look at it.
But I think to Jamie's point, once we see that whole picture, then it's less surprising when we get to budget time and you
Yeah.
guys hear what the departments need. You'll be less surprised by, well, we didn't know the condition of the police department. You'll
Right.
know that.
I think it's good. Anybody have any more suggestions for that or requests on
I think it's a good start. Thank you.
it? Okay. We all good then? Anything else? We go to the council? Staff, y'all got anything else? Well, we move to adjourn. Motion to adjourn. For a second. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Amen. Thank you very much. Have a lot done.